Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our online series, Success Secrets to Parenting Teen Girls. I'm your host, Tova Garr, and I am very excited to introduce to you today's expert, who is a lovely, beautiful woman who has incredible energy. I can always feel it right away when we're speaking, and that is Susann Taylor Shier. She is a highly gifted international best-selling author, speaker, intuitive channel, spiritual counselor, and founder of Soul Mastery. There are many other fabulous things I could be telling you about her, but I'd much rather you actually meet her and hear her voice. So hi, welcome.
Hi, thanks so much, Tova. Great to be with you for sure. And your wonderful audience of beautiful, mostly women, I would imagine, if we're talking mothers and daughters, but I salute all of you who are here to glean what you can about how to work and create the best way possible in this field, because it's so vital to our very heart and soul.
Absolutely. And I know that this topic is dear to your heart, since you have a daughter of your own, which you raised successfully.
Yes.
And survived the teen years.
Yes, exactly. And still raising her, it seems, constantly.
I feel like it's a never-ending process. It ends when they move out of the house. Or as my mother will tell you, she's still she will always be my mother, even if I'm
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. It's just what it is. And we love it that way. We want it that way, or it wouldn't be that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And so, honoring everybody who's with us today and where they are right now in their lives with their teen girls. We know that sometimes that relationship between mothers and daughters can be stressful, and it can be a struggle. And where I'd like to start us off today is really asking you, how do we get out of that cycle that we sometimes get into of constant struggle and fighting back and forth, never really finding that peace, or even creating that bridge to talk to each other? How do we move out of there?
Well, the first thing I want to say is the key is to recognize why the power struggle is there in the first place. What are we struggling for that we don't get it? I know we talk about the fact that, one person has to be right, the other person has to be right. It's deeper than that. Why do you feel like you have to be right? Why do you feel like the other person needs to see you, understand you, get you? As a mother, it's like, don't you get that I have all this wisdom? I know what I'm talking about. I've been around the block, all that stuff, kind of authority that she's trying to exude. And the daughter is going, excuse me, I need you to see me, understand me, get me, because I'm a person too. And just because you're my mother doesn't mean that you have the right to tell me what I know about myself, and you don't really know me. And the mother's going, well, yeah, I do. I've been with you forever. Deeper than that is a heart place that wants to be filled by both people. I'm going to talk about the mother to start with. Unconsciously, for mothers, often when we have daughters, we have the feeling, this bundle of joy is going to be the love I've always wanted. She's going to also provide what my mother never provided. She's going to be there for me. Look at the way she looks at me and gazes at me while I nurse her. When she goes to school, she needs me. She thinks I'm the world. We want that unconditional love from our daughter, unbeknownst to our conscious brain. Oh no, we're just raising them. We're giving ourselves. But underneath it is a particular need that never got fulfilled in our own heart. Then we've got the daughter who is moving along, particularly as a teenager, going, I love you, now go away. I love you, now go away. But underneath is a sense of, I need to know you're going to love me unconditionally forever and ever, no matter what I do, drugs, jumping off the side of a building, doing all sorts of crazy things. I need to know you're there for me. So this is the power struggle, is of the heart. Who is going to get their needs met? Who's going to feel taken care of by the other unconditionally? The sad thing is the other person can't give you that fully. But that's where the level of real honesty lies, is that feeling that both of you have to recognize what I'm looking for is being taken care of by the other, and you're not doing that for me. You're not understanding me, being with me the way I need you to be. And again, the other person, the mother or the daughter, can't fill that for you completely. So if you recognize that to start with, you can breathe a sigh of relief and go, oh, okay, I need to find the ways that I can feel taken care of, supported, loved the way I want to, not asking the other person to be absolutely my pyramid of completeness.
I just love the way you just framed that. First of all, it gives such an understanding of what's lying in our subconscious, right? What are the things that we're not actually aware of that drive us sometimes to move forward, and then we hit that wall and we're so frustrated and we can't figure out why. Right?
Yeah.
The need that, like you're saying, it just can't be met. So we're never going to succeed going down that path. And so the question is, so what? Yes. Right?
Yeah. What do we do? Because, the mother's going, if they don't help me do the dishes, they obviously don't love me, which is like, when you sit back and look at it, you're like, huh? Wait, that sounds like, but that's what's going on at our emotional level and in our deeper heart. I need to know that they love me and they care about me for all that I've given to them. I need that love in return because I've never gotten it. Yeah.
Right. And so why can't they pick up the clothes off the floor? Don't they understand?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Don't they see how much that means to me, and that shows me how much I'm loved? Yeah. All those little practical things. It's like, oh my gosh, aren't we funny? We have to laugh at ourselves a lot, actually.
We have to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we do it. So how can we do it differently?
So how we can do it differently is to find, as a mother, and my daughter's 29, and there's still this dynamic that goes on, and I have to be very conscious of it, because if I can be triggered, it will be by her, because she knows my weaknesses. She knows how to get to me to get her needs met. She's very fierce about that. I want my needs met, and you're the only one I can truly count on throughout my whole life. And I'm sitting there going, back off, you're older. And they're like, yes, but. So how can you do that? As a mother, it's really important. I work at a soul level to help people to be able to feel your heart full in and of itself. It's actually deeper than just self-love, okay? Mm-hmm. If you're just saying to yourself, I'm going to love myself more, I'm going to love myself more, and we don't have time to get into a whole lecture about that, then your adult self is trying to soothe your smaller parts, and your adult self really has never been fulfilled. It's still looking for someone to help it. So it's more of a spiritual resource of connecting to infinite love. We can do that in nature. We can do that with animals. We can do that with any kind of spiritual connection that we're developing. Meditation, we start to fill our own tank. Feel that. What is that like for us to feel loved? Hold that for ourselves. Hold that for ourselves. Then we can be an inspiration for our daughter, that they can get their own source for it as well. And we can teach them about it possibly. But most importantly, to get that for ourselves. So we're not asking, as most people, women are especially, asking husbands, daughters, you name it, everybody in your world to fill you. And we cry daily at the fact that they can't. So filling ourselves in the deepest way possible. And that's what I love to share with people, how to do that. Yeah, it's easy.
I love it. I I'm so tempted to ask you to do a process with us, but there's so many things we need to talk about. Ooh. Um,
And we can do a little something, sure.
yeah,
But it doesn't have to be now. Go ahead. We can do it all. We can have it all.
we can have more. Awesome. So, I hear what you're saying in terms of filling up our own needs, right? And making sure that they're really met so we can be present. And then comes in, right, in the same way that we're functioning from our subconscious, right, when it comes to the clothes on the floor, meaning you don't love me. In the same way, what we tend to do is we tend to parent the way we were parented, right, or the way we were taught when we were children. It's just a natural thing because that's what we know. And I know that you talk a lot about intuition and functioning from intuition. What does that look like in the context of parenting? How can you parent from intuition?
From intuition, exactly. Good question. Okay. Instead of just going, when we get afraid, we don't know how to deal with something, we go into our brain and we go into the wheel that says, well, this is what worked for me or didn't work for me, and I have this book of knowledge that's false because my parents used it, instead of going into the heart, which is the seat of intuition. Really going, okay, in essence, not just what would my intuitive voice say, because nobody knows exactly how to get hold of that, okay? That's a tricky one. I teach lots of intuition classes, and this idea of you're just supposed to, download your intuitive voice is like, that's impossible, okay? So everyone can relax, but it's the heart that knows. So when you're in your heart, and say, for instance, your teenager is not picking up their clothes, you go into your heart and go, let's see, what is it I need here? What is it I need right now? And usually it's not just love, it's also a feeling of being respected, okay? And if you recognize intuitively, I need to be respected here, that's intuition, knowing what you need. I need to feel respected here. And then you can just say, the most respectful thing you could do for me right now would be this. So that you're saying what's important to you. That's intuition. And respect is a big part of love. So for instance, everybody gathers at dinner time and the mother becomes the martyr. Okay, I've got to do this for this person and this for that person and all of that, instead of saying, okay, everybody, you know what? This is what I need right now. I need 5 minutes of no requests so I can actually get dinner on the table and feel like it's a creative outlet for me. Because it's become a chore because I'm just doing it by rote and nobody appreciates it or whatever. But really being respectful and saying, you know what I need right now? And listening inside to your heart that knows what you need to feel fed and being able to name that. It's one of the hardest challenges we have. But they've got all these needs. I got to take care of their needs, really. If they hear what you need and you start to proclaim that, they will feel like you are the queen and you are to be honored. And we don't get honored as mothers very often.
I love that you're sharing that on multiple levels, because there's the first level, which I think is so important, especially for us as women, which is acknowledging that we have needs. I know this is one of the things that I have definitely struggled with and continue to, right, is having needs and being able to voice them, right, and making space for your needs being important and relevant, right, and heard, right. That's one level of it. And the other is saying, if these aren't met, right, if you can't voice what you need, then we're back into that struggle because you're upset, right? You don't have the words for it. You're not even sure exactly why. And that's where conflict happens, right? Is when our needs aren't getting met.
Exactly. So you're asking others to fill your needs because you don't feel you can proclaim them. Now, the reason you feel you can't proclaim them is because you're afraid they're going to not love you for it. So you have to do it enough times till you find out, because the first time it may not work. They're going to bucket and go, what do you mean your needs? Are you kidding me? So you've got to practice it to the point where you go, oh, they're starting to get who I am and that I'm just as important. So you have to stand up for yourself, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you also say is that you got to remember that if you haven't been doing this until now, which I'm going to assume there's some others who are listening to us who are like, well, I've never done this before, right? They
Right.
expect me to be their servant, right, and meet all their
Right.
needs. So
Yes, exactly.
you got to retrain them, and retraining is sometimes hard. Changing the rules is hard sometimes, so you've got to stick to what you know is right.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yep. And be able to do it sort of lightheartedly. You're going to be terrified, but make it a game, whatever it is, make it lighthearted. Blow the whistle. And so, oh my God, I just learned something today, everybody. I got to do it differently, and it will help you immensely. But bear with me here. I'm going to be a little crazy. It's like saying, okay, it's that time of month. I'm going to be a little crazy, but this is the way it is. And just make light of it. I have a deadline at work, people. Okay, it's just the way it is, or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the way it is. And
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Bear with me.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the mothers right now, right? And those who are listening to us, and how important it is for them to what I'm hearing you say is really connect to who they are, right, and what their needs are, and use that as a power, right? And
Yes.
a force, so to speak, right, in their communication and the way they're functioning. How does this translate into being able to support their daughters?
Well, in every way possible, because you're teaching your daughter how to feel. As I was saying earlier, as they become teenagers, they want to feel seen and understood. The whole epidemic about bullying is feeling like nobody sees you, they're just pounding you down, and every teenager, every child gets bullied once or twice, 8 million times, whatever. The put down thing because of another's weakness and sense of insecurity. So if you can elicit in your child how valuable they are, not just to you, but as a person, then they can stand up for themselves instead of depending on you to keep validating them. You do that by being an inspirational example, that it's okay for you to say, tonight is my night, whatever that is. And they go, wow, it's okay for me to say that. So next time they run into a group in the hall at school who go, we want nothing to do with you, you can go, hey, you guys, tonight's my night. Who wants to join me? Or whatever it is, that they have that strength going, that it's safe to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I know that you talk a lot about each child really being their own unique soul. They're only one of a kind. There's nobody like them, right?
Right, right.
Sometimes I wish we as adult women could remember that about ourselves.
True.
Yeah. First of all, how do we help ourselves recognize that in our daughters? Especially when I see so many mothers who are, on the one hand, see themselves in their daughters, but often what they see is the negative behaviors, right?
Yes.
Yes. Versus what's special about them, and sometimes there's, a separation issue. How can we help them really see their gift, see their uniqueness, and help them foster that?
Yes, exactly. Well, the reason I got into soul level work is because I realized that each of us is very unique. And when I talk to mothers about their daughters, and then I'll talk to the daughters or anybody in that regard, I will talk to them to help bring that out in them. And what those qualities, characteristics are. If you start to list for yourself as a mother, what are the things that my friends see in my daughter, their friends see in my daughter? Just start looking as an observer. When you go to a soccer match, what do you see that they're providing in the world? When you talk to a teacher at a parent-teacher conference, how does the teacher see them? Okay? Even ask your daughter, what would you say are some of your strengths, gifts? What do you see Okay, they may not be as forthcoming with you, but start to observe how they look at themselves through others' eyes to help you go, that's true. They're amazing, because they will not show up with you the way they do to the world in general. They will often show their weaknesses because they need help with them.
Yeah.
So observe, be the observer and go, this person out here is remarkable. Yeah.
I love that you're saying that. You're reminding me of my mother when we were younger. She always used to say that when she got a phone call from a friend's parents saying how amazing we were and how helpful we were when we were over there, how we helped wash the dishes or clean something up, she'd be like, okay, they're going to be okay, because they're definitely not doing it.
uh-huh. And you compliment your daughter for the things that they do instead of rolling your eyes and going, why don't you do it at home? It's just, thank you so much for the way you showed up in that regard. Really appreciate them. And it will, instigate them doing more of it, because they're appreciated for it. We don't really appreciate our children because we feel like we have to push them through school and homework and doing and getting and, make them all that we want them to be, which is very masculine, instead of just sitting back on the couch with them and saying how much we appreciate their essence, their beingness, who they are inside, and really honoring that. We just don't do it. Yeah.
I love that you're saying that. And what I'm asking myself and I'm wondering is, how do we help the mothers who are listening to us right now, right, who are having this internal conflict? I can hear it in my head right now saying, but it's my job to push them. It's my job to make sure that they do all these things because they have to have all these things on their resume to get into college, or they have to, do X, Y, or Z because that's what society seems to be telling us I have to do right now. Like, if I step back, I'm and do what you're suggesting, I'm neglecting my daughter. I'm not doing, what I'm supposed to do as a mother. I don't know how else best to do this.
Exactly. Well, again, that's what we were taught years ago by parents. Now, a lot of mothers are single mothers. They have to play the mother role and the father role. And so they get caught in more of the father role, the sense of, I've got to get them out there and make them a part of the workforce and make the best out of them. That's a masculine support system. That's needed. But you have to remember you have a team. You have teachers, you have friends, they have coaches, they have all sorts of things that can help you. And if you are not continuing that nurturing inner quality of connection with them, which will develop them as the most outstanding female that they can be, you've missed giving them the core of themselves. Okay? I'm going to talk about a few Olympic champions, right? The women's gymnastics, U.S. women's gymnastics team. We know how deeply loved they are by their parents. The coaches push, 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 push like crazy. We would not want to even know how much they push them. But their parents love them and support them. And you can do this across the board with anybody. Doesn't have to be Olympic champions. If your parents are there saying, go, great, you do what's true for you, that's the best support you can give them, rather than you deciding how they need to be pushed. If they don't feel motivated about something, what's at a deeper place in that? They're looking for something other than being pushed and motivated. They need something deeper in their heart to be ignited before they're going to feel like there's something valuable to them in the world to bring forward. Yeah.
And I think you're touching on such an important point, which is, because I'm sure that many mothers here can connect to their teens not being motivated, right? But that's exactly the point, is that if they're not connecting to who they really are, then they're not motivated, because that's where motivation comes from. That's where we shine, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And you could say, well, teens, how are they going to know who they are until you just put them in front of these 6 million things? You have to be more patient with your teenagers, especially these days. There is so much stimulation, there is so much outer information that they're trying to sort out on their own, that you have to see them as a flower blossoming at their own time, in their own way. You encourage, support, all of that, and they will find their way to blossom. Rather than saying they're not motivated, I need to get them motivated. It's your fear that they're going to be homeless and it's going to be your fault. They will find their way if they are blossomed from the inside out by you.
And at that fine note, do we have time for a really short process, or I'm deciding we have time for a really short?
Sure. Let's do something fun. Let's do a short process. What I'd like to do is, often women, the whole martyr thing, particularly mothers, even though you may have the most fantastic husband in the world, they don't feel supported in being a mother because the father doesn't understand what it's like to be a mother, right? That's like 100% true. Nobody understands what it's like. I talk to my friends, but my child doesn't but they have a different child, you know, a different sun sign, whatever it is. So what we want to give you today is that feeling sensation, and it may sound a little woo-woo to some people, but I think you'll get it, of what it's like to feel like somebody has your back. Okay? So I'm going to have everyone just do a little quiet meditation, and if you're listening to this while you're driving in the car, keep your eyes open. Please. And you can try it on. You know, if you're like, this is the only time I have. Are you kidding me? I've got 4 kids, and you're going to ask me to do a meditation, stop and do a meditation. Just try it with your eyes open and just imagine it, okay? All right, so just go into your heart space for a moment and consider something you love and appreciate. It could be an animal, a flower, anything. And feel the stirring that happens in your heart. Feel that heart opening to receive more of what you love and appreciate. And then take a moment to value, I am this amazing woman that loves and appreciates. That's a fabulous trait right there. I know how to love and appreciate life. And bring that forward through me. And now I want you to use your creative imagination. It's not your brain, it's your creative imagination. Let me teach you what creative imagination is, because some people get lost. Imagine with your eyes closed or even open if you're driving, the sensation of your bedroom, a room you're not in right now. And you will get a semi-picture of it. It's a sensation picture. It's not concrete, it's just impression, sensation, picture. Yes, you see a vague bed, you don't remember how many pillows are on it, it's just an impression. That's creative visualization. So now I want you to imagine a large presence. Maybe it's an angel, maybe it's a guide, maybe it's just a presence that comes forward that is standing behind you. Maybe it's right against your back, maybe it's back a few feet. Be available to receive a presence in your creative imagination. It may be more feeling than visual. It may be very visual, maybe 12 feet tall, it may be 2 inches tall. It's yours. Take a breath and let it be there. Honor that it's showing up just for you. It's an extension of you. It's like a loving warrior for all that you are and all you provide, and how amazing you are. And you can feel it in some essence, in some way, wrapping itself around your heart, maybe even your whole body. Particularly when you feel you have a need. Know it's there for you. Imagine a scenario where somebody was not very happy with you recently. Feel how that impacted your heart with a little bit of a constriction and an ouch. And give it to this loving warrior for you. To transform it and transform your heart. And to complete, what I'd like you to do is just offer love and appreciation for this aspect of you that you're bringing back, reclaiming, honoring, allowing to be with you again. Do not leave home or be at home without it.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And yours definitely showed up.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the room with you.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Thank you. That was beautiful.
So welcome.
So we have no choice but to end. So
it happens.
Time goes by. If you could share with everybody who's with us today what your free gift is, that would be fantastic.
I would love to share my free gift. It is multidimensional, like me, like you. All mothers are multidimensional. Oh my gosh, we have so many parts we play. So, a couple of recordings, and these recordings will also have some of these guided meditations in them, because that's what I love to do, is give you the experience. The first one is called Co-Creating with Spirit's Wealth. To give you that feeling that you are abundant, it's okay for you to be the fullness of all that you are, and to show up and say, this is what's important to me. You have to feel that support of Spirit's wealth with you and for you. The second one is specifically to this year, the year of finding your true authority. Again, seems to be along that same line, being able to step up to who you are, the queen that you are. Your kingdom is waiting for you to be the true authority and be able to give it expression lots of ways. Okay. Also, the introduction to my book called Soul Mastery. I've written 3 books. This is the first one that will help you understand your soul and its gifts and its strengths, and a little bit more about your soul challenges, understanding how that applies to your life and your daughter's life for sure. So you can start to understand the soul of your child more and what that means and what that looks like. And then you also will get, every week I do an audio or a video or just a written description of my wisdom and all that I have to bring, and you'll get a whole bunch of those to read and be inspired by, because I love to offer the wisdom that comes through me. It just does that, and I'm very blessed to have that for the years that I've been around. That's the beauty of having a little age on your shoulders. You get wiser and wiser as you go along. So look forward to it, everybody. So I'm so thrilled to give you all those gifts to open your soul and your soul connection with your daughter, and for you to just feel like you can be all that you are meant to be, so you can embrace your daughters and your whole family with all that you are.
That is just wonderful. Thank you for sharing with
You're
us.
welcome. You're welcome.
Free gift. Thank you. Thank you for today. It was just beautiful. I'm still kind of in our process.
Good. Do not leave the process. It gets to be with you all the time. You get to learn how to be that larger person that feels honored. It's great.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. So thank you.
Great to be with you, Tova. Thank you so much for all you're doing. for so many. It's fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you to all the moms and dads who joined us today.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure as always, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.